The best way to get better at programming is to practice. In this example, we're going to be looking at character data again. So we've already looked at some character data like how is it stored, how can we work with it, and basic things. But now we're going to look at how do we actually work with that character data to provide some meaningful results. As always, this file is available for download from the link provided in the description below. You can then pause the video and try it on your own or simply follow along with us. All right, so let's get started. So you might be asking yourself, well, what do you mean, am I looking for data? Well, we've already seen some basic things with if conditions. So I could say, for example, if letter equals C. And if I do this, then I could perform some sort of operation. And this is a great example of checking for a value. Obviously, it would be true in this example, so we're not going to do that. But what happens if I wanted to check to say, hey, is this a lowercase letter? So what I can do, because letter is stored as a number, like we saw in our previous video, I can say, for example, if letter is greater than or equal to A, then use my ampersand for my Boolean logical AND, letter is less than or equal to Z. If I run this, you're going to notice it's going to come up and say this letter is lowercase. So that's exactly what we're expecting. Because letter is stored internally as a number, the A is converted to a number, the Z is converted to a number, and then it's just checking, hey, am I between these two? The answer is yes. Yes, it was. Okay. But is there a better way? This is where knowing about character functions becomes so powerful. So for example, I could come in here and do something like islower. This is a function I can pass letter into, and it's going to let me know, hey, is this letter lowercase? And you see, once again, it is. Now, you might say, well, how do I know? What happens if it always does it? So let's test it with an uppercase letter. And notice it doesn't print out anything. So this is actually working the way we would think it would. It makes it a whole lot easier than us having to write out that more complicated if statement. So obviously, as there is a islower, there's also a upper. And additionally, I have some other functions. So for example, I might want to say, do I want to continue if my input is a capital Y? Well, what happens if they put a lowercase y? Well, I could write something like if to upper letter equals, and then use a capital Y. We're just going to print out yes, just for something simple there. And now if I come over here to say char letter, I'll do a lowercase y. It's going to take my lowercase y, convert it to uppercase, and then we're going to check for the equality. And notice that it prints yes. Yes, it was that y. Now, it didn't happen to be uppercase y, but this made it a whole lot easier. You might say, well, what happens if I put a capital S here? Well, if I run this, you're going to notice that nothing prints out. So you notice that there's some very basic functions that make it a lot easier to work with our characters. Sure, we can use it in a harder way, but using things like is upper and is lower, or to upper and to lower, can definitely make working with these character data a whole lot easier for us as a developer. If you found this example helpful, please like the video. Consider watching the rest of these videos in the series to get better at programming with C and C++ data.